It all began with a simple landscaping project at the Hudsons' quiet suburban home in Edgemont, Ohio. The Hudsons, Richard, Eleanor, and their 2 adult children, seemed the picture of respectability. But a construction crew unearthed a human skeleton, wrapped in tarpaulin, beneath the old rose bushes. Police swarmed the property, and neighbors whispered in disbelief. Detective Miller was assigned to the case. The Hudsons claimed ignorance, but something felt off. Miller sensed secrets behind their polite smiles and closed doors. The body in the backyard was more than a crime scene. It was a challenge to everything the family claimed to be. The stage was set for a mystery that would shake the town to its core. To understand the case, you have to understand the Hudsons. On the surface, they were the American dream. Richard, a successful architect, Eleanor, a beloved charity organizer, Thomas, a rising lawyer, Clara, a thoughtful artist. Their lives were a series of curated moments, holidays, milestones, block parties. Friends and neighbors described them as wonderful, generous, and close-knit. But the absence of any reported conflict was itself suspicious. Detective Miller knew that no family is truly perfect. The Hudsons' image was a shield, expertly maintained to keep outsiders at bay. As the investigation deepened, it became clear that this perfection was their greatest defense and their greatest weakness. The pressure to maintain their image must have been immense. What were they protecting? The body in the backyard was a brutal intrusion into their controlled world. It threatened to expose the truth they'd worked so hard to conceal. Miller realized he needed to peel back the layers of this family portrait. The darkness lurking beneath the surface was real. The Hudsons' facade was starting to crumble. The investigation was no longer about a body, it was about the secrets behind the smiles. The perfect family was hiding something, and Miller was determined to find out what. The first break came with the victim's identity, Julian Croft, missing for 18 years. When Miller mentioned the name, Richard and Eleanor's reactions betrayed them. They denied knowing Julian, but the truth was clear. Julian was Eleanor's younger brother. 18 years ago, the family claimed Julian had run away, leaving a note and vanishing. The missing person file painted him as a restless soul, but now, those statements seemed like the foundation of a lie. The Hudsons had erased Julian from their lives, lying to police, friends, and even their own children. Thomas and Clara grew up believing their uncle had abandoned them. The question was no longer just who killed Julian, but why the entire family conspired to cover it up. The perfect family was built on a foundation of lies. The web of deceit was unraveling. Miller realized the investigation hinged on this family secret. The Hudsons had gone to great lengths to hide the truth. The body in the backyard was proof of a conspiracy. The family drama was no longer a suspicion, it was a certainty. The Hudsons' world was built on secrets, and now those secrets were coming to light. Clara Hudson, the quiet, artistic daughter, was the key to the family's secrets. Unlike her family, Clara seemed genuinely distressed. When Miller interviewed her, she repeated the story. Her uncle had run away. But her eyes revealed a deeper sadness, a flicker of fear. Miller met her at her art studio, away from the family home. Clara remembered a night of shouting, her mother crying, being told to stay in her room. She recalled her father working late by the rose bushes, mixing concrete. Clara's memories were incomplete, but they cracked the family's story. The burden she carried was heavy, loyalty versus truth. The truth was beginning to surface. The reluctant witness had spoken. While Clara revealed emotional cracks, the financial records told a different story. Miller's team dug into the Hudsons' finances, searching for anomalies around Julian's disappearance. They discovered Julian had received a large inheritance, $500,000, just before he vanished. The money was deposited into Julian's account, then quickly transferred to a holding company. That company, investigators found, was secretly owned by Richard Hudson. This was the bombshell. Richard had stolen his brother-in-law's inheritance. The motive was clear: greed. Julian must have discovered the theft and confronted Richard. The argument Clara remembered was likely about the stolen money. Richard, the respected architect, was not just a liar. He was a thief, and likely a killer. The perfect family facade was crumbling under the weight of financial greed. The money trail provided hard evidence, connecting Richard directly to the victim. The story was no longer about a missing man, but a calculated crime. Richard wanted Julian gone, and his money. The cover-up was about more than reputation. It was about hiding a crime. The investigation now focused squarely on Richard Hudson. The truth was closing in. With motive established, attention turned to Thomas Hudson, the ambitious lawyer. Thomas had always defended his family, using his legal skills to deflect suspicion. But Miller suspected Thomas was more than just a loyal son. He was part of the cover-up. Presented with financial evidence, Thomas's confidence faltered. He admitted he knew about the money, claiming he learned the truth years later. According to Thomas, his father said Julian became angry during a confrontation, and a fight led to Julian's accidental death. Richard panicked and buried the body, fearing no one would believe him. Thomas insisted he only helped maintain the secret to protect the family. But Miller saw through the story. It was too convenient, too rehearsed. Thomas's actions were obstruction of justice, not misguided loyalty. He had betrayed his uncle's memory to protect his father. The family's lies had become a prison. Thomas's ambition led him to ruin. The truth was now undeniable. The Hudson's perfect image was shattered. The brothers' betrayal was complete. Justice was closing in. Eleanor Hudson, the stoic matriarch, was torn between loyalty to her husband and love for her brother. Miller showed her a childhood photo, reminding her Julian deserved justice. Eleanor broke down, confessing through tears. Richard had planned the murder after Julian discovered the theft. Eleanor knew but was paralyzed by fear. Her confession sealed Richard's fate. The Hudson's world collapsed. The truth was out. The case was closed. With Eleanor's confession, the case against Richard Hudson was sealed. The district attorney had everything: a body, a motive, and confessions. Richard was arrested at work, shocking his colleagues and the community. The perfect family became the subject of scandal and speculation. The home that symbolized success was now a crime scene. Richard pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, sentenced to 25 years to life. Thomas was charged with obstruction of justice, lost his law license, and served 2 years in prison. Clara and Eleanor, though not charged, faced a different sentence, living with the truth. Clara moved away, seeking peace. Eleanor sold the house and turned to volunteer work. The Hudson family, as the world knew it, ceased to exist. The promise of a perfect life ended in tragedy. The walls they built to hide their secrets had come tumbling down. The community was left stunned. The story was a cautionary tale about the cost of deceit. The Hudson's legacy was forever changed. The truth had finally come to light. Justice had been served. The Hudson case brought justice for Julian Croft, no longer a forgotten victim. The legal system worked. A killer was held accountable, and those who concealed the crime faced consequences. For Edgemont, it was a sobering reminder that darkness can hide behind any facade. The truth, no matter how deeply buried, will surface. For Clara and Eleanor, the journey ahead is one of healing and reckoning. They must live with their roles in the tragedy and find a way forward. The Hudson story is a cautionary tale about the corrosive nature of secrets. One lie led to another, pulling the entire family into a web of deceit. The pressure to appear perfect became their undoing. The truth is not just a moral ideal, its suppression has real destructive consequences. The Hudson's legacy is a stark reminder of the price of deceit. Thank you for joining us for this in-depth look at a case that shook a community. For more stories beyond the headlines, subscribe to our channel.